everyone, welcome to the Wise Man Show. Today's special guest, I'm delighted to welcome two guys who'll be running a fantastic conference later on this year, SRCONF. Firstly, let me just introduce Alan Whitford, the founder of RC Euro and the chairman of the event SRCONF.
Hi, Hung. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Great to have you on board, Alan. And also to welcome Vic Okezie, Managing Director of Crezia, and also the co-founder of SRCONF. Welcome on board, Vic.
Thanks to have us, Hung. Really great.
Great stuff. Well, listen, guys, I mean, just a quick question to all the viewers out there. SRCONF, what is it all about? I mean, how would you give this a strapline, gents?
Right, okay, well, SRCONF is a social recruiting conference. So we started it off last year as a conference, a one-day conference that brings people together, especially guys in the recruitment community, to look at how, social media is impacting recruitment, but also to look at, real-life case studies and presentations from both global brands and, of course, medium-sized companies, and how they implement social media internally. But this also involves how they use social media for recruiting, but also for employer branding. So that's pretty much what the conference is about. And we try to focus a lot more on real practical examples and scenarios from these brands.
Yep. Okay, great. What about sort of the people who should be attending this event, Vic? I mean, do you have an idea who the audience needs to be for this?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we sort of like target a lot of corporate recruiting, managers and directors. And what we did last November, we tend to find that a lot of corporate companies are really interested in finding out, how social media could obviously impact how they recruit. And but also we also getting really great interest from independent recruiters, from guys in the recruitment community, and so recruitment marketing industry, recruitment advertising industry. Some guys from job boards as well who want to see, how social is changing, I suppose, the dynamics within recruiting. So pretty much everyone around about the recruitment industry, but guys who actually do the recruiting themselves and who also focus on employer branding. This is sort of like our real target audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I've had a look at the delegates list. Maybe I can direct this question to Alan over here. I've had a look at the speakers and the people that you've got guesting on it. Some impressive, sort of quite an impressive rogues gallery there, guys. I mean, would you be able to give me a quick sort of a breakdown as to who we might be expecting to see?
Absolutely, and I think as we did in November, we've got a terrific lineup again of people that are actually really doing it. And what's also interesting is that not only are they doing it, they're willing to come and share their stories, warts and all. They're willing to talk about the challenge they've had, what led them to want to get into direct sourcing and then to using social media as one of those sets of tools. So we've got people like Intel coming from Israel, where they actually have responsibility for all of EMEA. We've got Frank coming up from Société Générale in France, which is quite interesting. So we're getting people from outside the UK. Paul Maxon at Unilever has global responsibility for their recruiting strategy. So we've got some really terrific people that are coming from quite large companies. We've also got Kezia Suarez from Accenture, who last year was on one of our panels and this year is stepping up to a full presentation role. And then in reversing the mode, Matt Jeffrey, who last year gave a presentation from EA, is now on one of our panels in his new role at Autodesk. So we've got quite a good selection of people that have actually done it and are still doing it, are still trying to learn. And I think to me, that's what makes our conference quite different from a lot of the other events. And it's what, in a sense, triggered Vic and I to do this last year, is conversations about, there's lots of talking heads explaining what social media is all about, but we weren't seeing enough of the actual real practitioners sharing their experiences, and that's what we've really got going for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's fantastic. You mentioned the warts and all piece of that, Alan. I think you're right. There's a bit too. Sometimes when you go to conferences, you get the impression that it's all a little bit too polished, and these people have stepped up and done the perfect project, and they've sort of worked it out. I think a lot of people would be very interested to understand what the challenges are and how they're getting managed, dealt with, or not, as the case may be. So I think that's going to be an interesting feature for the people who are attending the conference later this month. You mentioned sort of panels and speakers, Alan. Would you be able to just expand on the format for us a little bit?
Sure. I think we've got some of the traditional format where we've got people with a presentation in their PowerPoint. We've also got a couple panels which are going to be much more like a discussion area rather than the standard sort of panel with each person just has one question and gives 3 answers or whatever it might be. We really want to make those panels much more interactive, both with the members of the panel as well as the audience itself. And we'll probably, you know, flip some of those around right up until on the day, won't we, Vic?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing that we're doing, Hung, that your listeners might be interested in is that we actually, we drink our own Kool-Aid, so to speak. This is a social media conference, so we live stream the entire day. And we also live tweet the entire day on the hashtag SRCONF. We've got people that are dedicated throughout the day that we bring in that actually report. They're going to be live blogging, live tweeting, and uniquely that I've never seen before, we ran the Twitter stream side by side on either side of the main presentation stream. So people in the audience are participating via Twitter as well as by asking questions throughout the day. And I think last year we had about 3/4 of our audience actually tweeted during the event, and Vic's got the numbers. We had some amazing reach with Twitter. But we also had about 600 people participated in the event throughout the day via the live streaming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the numbers are in comparison to last year, because if we believe what we read and hear on Twitter mainly, that everyone's jumping on it. So, it'd be interesting to know whether it's now, a ubiquitous thing. But I'd be interested in that actually just a little bit, in the sense a lot of the guys I speak to are still pretty much distant to the social media piece. There is something of a risk that whenever you sort of go to events and networking events and conferences and so forth, that you end up sort of meeting the same people. They do the conference circuit, so to speak. What's your message, I guess, guys, to those people who might be wondering, okay, how relevant social media is to me? We've heard about it. I don't really understand it. I see a portion of these guys going off and having these events, but then how does it sort of apply to me? What's your message to the people out there that really haven't got social media yet, haven't sort of found a way to get interested in it?
Sure, right. Okay, I mean, to be fair, I don't think it's a bad thing to meet the same some people before in conferences. So it's always nice to meet guys every now and again. But having said that, I mean, like mentioned and explained, this conference got loads and loads of it's going to demonstrate loads of content from really good companies, and I think excellent speakers as well. And I suppose what people are going to take out from it is real relevant content that's going to be practical for themselves. They're going to obviously learn how these individuals, oftentimes individuals, themselves starting up this stuff, then taking it up to companies to buy in, how they started their journey, how they sort of build, create up, social media channels and platforms and early stage feedback and results. And some of them could have been doing it for a very long time, maybe 1 to 2 years. So obviously they're very advanced, and some others could have been doing it for the last 3 to 6 months. So I suppose, it is that, diversity in terms of content and information sharing that people are going to obviously take away from that day, including the networking and conversations with other peers. So I mean, overall, it's going to be obviously a day of content, but also networking and conversations, and thinking about how they can do this stuff when they go back home.
I think that's right, Vic. To us, it's always the most important part of the day. Isn't necessarily just the presentation. It's the buzz. It's the conversation that's happening beforehand. It's when we go around the corner to the pub at the end of the day. And it's last year, an incredible number of both the speakers and the delegates all just came to the pub, where we hung out for another couple hours. Sometimes that's the best part of the event. But it is also the wide range of different stories that you're going to hear during during the day. With people like Katie McNabb from PepsiCo, for example, is going to be talking about mobile and how that's starting to emerge as one of the real game changers potentially in recruiting, much less social recruiting. But I think the lesson that almost every single one of the speakers and the panelists will talk about is that you need to have a strategy for sourcing. And as part of that strategy, in one of the channels or a range of the social media elements, you're right, Twitter, yeah, it seems to be growing and more important, but just having a Twitter account or just having a Facebook account or just having a LinkedIn profile, that isn't going to do it. You actually have to have a strategy about what you're doing as a recruiter. And what I think that the audience, both the virtual audience as well as the physical audience, really gain from our event is that learning experience of how do I even build a strategy? How do I think about employment branding? How do I think about, marketing? And should I even be in recruiting? Should I be in marketing? What do I do locally as well as internationally? And I think those are the shared stories, aren't they, Vic, that we really think make the day happen?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we also have to mention, I think brother, mentioned it earlier, we'll be live streaming the event on the page SRCONF/live. And on the side of it is going to be the Twitter live feed as well. So obviously, if you've got your viewers and readers who can't make it on that day, they can actually watch the conference itself. They can participate via Twitter, and they can send tweets, and we in the audience will be seeing it on the Twitter fall and engaging with them as well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, guys. Let's. When is it? Where is it? And how do I get in?
30th.
So it's like the 30th of June. So June 30th, 2011, Central London. So at the Cavendish Conference Centre. So registration starts at 8:30, and of course you can obviously join us yourself, Hong, but your viewers and readers can join us via the website and register online srconf.com/attend. So book online. On very seamless registration via Eventbrite.
And you can be following us on the hashtag SRConf already. A lot of conversation going on there, both about last year and this year. And both on the SRConf site and the RC Euro site, we're running a series of interviews, both written interviews and audio interviews like this one. So lots of different ways for people to engage with us. And to me, I think our best story last year was that some of the Dutch guys couldn't get over because of the blizzard. One reason we're doing it in June, not in November. And he got back to the office about noon, and he turned on the live streaming and then sent the best tweet of the day, which is, "I finally made it to the conference from my office." And then he participated all throughout the day, and we're actually looking forward to having him here physically this year.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, guys, that's great to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, as to what SRConf is all about. Certainly a very exciting event happening later this year. If you're in recruitment, in the job space, interested in anything with regards to how social media impacts that part of human resource, then I recommend you check these guys out. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Vic. I look forward to seeing both of you later on this month.
Thanks so much, Hong. See you in June. Yeah.
See you later.
Take care, guys.
Bye now.